Hello and welcome to the Stateside Soccer Show World Cup 2022 draw reaction show. We went live. If you're watching live, thank you. If you're catching it after the fact, thank you as well. But I am Jordan Wiegand, and with me today is a man who makes us better together. It's Logan Stump.
That might have been the nicest intro you've ever given me. I feel like you've embodied the message and behind the World Cup today, as they were talking about the fact that this is really a time in a time that's kind of dark right now. That they're just bringing the world together as one, a unit that can just get together and watch this game that we love, this game that we all cherish, the one that makes it all fun. But I guess it's true. But then now Jordan is nice, so that's kind of nice. That's kind of fun.
You know why? Because now we're better together, right? Like
Mm,
we have to now be united as United States fans
mm.
and put all the differences aside and act like we actually get along and do the show together. So that's what we're going to be doing. And that's actually the song. You know what though? As much as it took an hour and some to get this show on the road, okay, I did enjoy the song. I really did.
Yeah, it was
I
good.
think it was the best song since the Coca-Cola waving flag song.
Hmm.
And I actually like the mascot opening where you see this world that has all the previous mascots. It was a
Hmm.
big thing for me. I was like, oh look, there's the 2010 mascot, there's the 2014 mascot. So I did enjoy that. The rest of it was very long
Yeah.
and took a long time to get going. My whole lunch break passed before they even started the draw. So it was quite a day. But how were you feeling before the draw, Logan? Because I know we were texting. You were very
Mm.
nervous. I felt like I was not nervous. I was trying to. I don't know if you ever watched the draws before. I'm trying to think of 2014. I was trying to think about when they did that draw. I'm pretty sure I was at home watching on TV, but I don't think you were as into it then, right? You didn't get into it till the World Cup. So 2018, I don't even know if I watched the draw because we weren't in it.
Yeah.
But what was the experience like? The nerves as we get up to draw time.
Yeah. I mean, having seen draws before and ones that haven't gone so well with Champions League this year, I've never been like nervous for my draw, just because it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. We got, see who the opponent is. Cool to see that moment when your team is drawing the opponents they're going to be facing, and then you kind of see what side of the bracket you're on, possibly, or what groups you might be facing. But this, yeah, you're right. I mean, this is the first time that I've ever seen a World Cup draw, and it was the U.S. was in it, so that was really exciting. Um, I remember texting you, and I taught today, and then the last 30 minutes we were done with the assignment, and I said, if you want to work on the assignment while you're watching, just kind of this symbolic moment with all these World Cup teams getting ready to face off and get placed into groups. I was nervous, and it was actually really cool because the moment in which I guess the whole coverage started, from the moment it started to like the moment of the draws. I teach at an international school where it's got a lot of kids that are from different countries. So in the room, I had three Brazilians, one German. I had one Scottish kid that was able to come in as the draw was getting started. One of my Mexican students came in and got to see Mexico get drawn. I had another kid that was from Germany as well. So there were two Germans that came in and were able to kind of see started coverage. But then during my lunch period, it was great. During my lunch period, I went and got my lunch. I came back, and then three of my students came in during their lunch and stuff to watch. So it was really cool. I had the Mexican student, I had my Scottish student, and I had my German student in there sitting with us. So it was like,
That's awesome.
this is really cool because we get to see this together, kind of experience it together, and just talk about it. And we were reacting. You could probably hear us through the wall of the different buildings been beside us, because the Scottish kid was like jumping up and down when he got drawn against us in the U.S. or us in the U.K. So I don't know, it was really cool. It was a really cool experience, and like you said, the lead up to it. Gosh, if and the stadiums are, they're going to look like that building that they were in with the draw. It's just unbelievable how much that part of the world has and money and just the abilities to build these beautiful buildings. So I don't know. Overall, I'll never forget that experience. That was cool.
Yeah, I still remember the 2010 draw.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the 2014 draw with Germany, Portugal, Ghana, USA. So that was a
Mm-hmm.
tough one. And yeah, here we are now with. I started watching in 2006, so really I've only had the 3 draws so far because 2018 we weren't in it. So let's go run through the groups real quick. Group A is Qatar. I can actually share the screen as well. Okay, so we've got Qatar, we've got Ecuador, Senegal, and the Netherlands in Group A. We've got England, Iran, USA, and the winner of the Euro playoff in Group B. So with us in Group B would be either Scotland, Wales, or Ukraine. That'll be determined in June. Group C, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. We've got Group D, France, Intercontinental Playoff 1, Denmark, and Tunisia. Intercontinental Playoff 1 would be either Peru, Australia, or United Arab Emirates. Spain leads Group E with Intercontinental Playoff 2, which would either be Costa Rica or New Zealand. Germany and Japan. Group F is Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. Group G is Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon. Brazil has Serbia and Switzerland in their group again, 2 World Cups in a row. And Portugal leads Group H with Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea Republic. I will say if I was a Costa Rica or Canada fan, this is how I would be feeling right now.
It's over. We are screwed.
Doesn't get old. But I mean, if Costa Rica makes it through, they got Spain, Germany, and Japan. That is a tough group. Group E is probably my group of death. I know people are saying there is no group of death, but look, listen to this. Spain, Costa Rica, who did well in their World Cups, Germany, and Japan. That's a tough group. H, Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea Republic. Those are 2 very strong groups. And then you have kind of the rest of the groups, I think, pretty balanced. I think if it was anybody else other than Saudi Arabia in Group C, that could be the group of death. Argentina, Mexico, Poland. If I'm Mexico, I'm kind of upset. I mean, Poland's going to be pretty tough with Lewandowski. You got Argentina, Messi's last run. Saudi Arabia, they should be able to beat them. And Group B, let's just talk about England, Iran, USA, Euro playoffs. So while we have an okay group, here's who's going to lead us to glory.
Like the phenom guy, right? He's like the LeBron James of soccer.
Yes, the LeBron James of soccer is here. Another way I was going to introduce you to the show, Logan, was the LeBron James of podcasting.
I'd have enjoyed that. Yeah,
I know. I messed it up. I'm sorry. So what are your overall thoughts on Group B here? Iran, England, USA, and either Scotland, Wales, or the Ukraine?
I really enjoy it. I think for entertainment value, I think that this group has the most entertainment as far as, like, I mean, not as far as on the pitch kind of stuff, but also the storylines in and around it. You've got a chance to see Wales and Scotland play up against England, who are kind of their United Kingdom neighbors. You've got the whole idea with Brexit, I guess. So that should be fun. The United States, England really hasn't beat up on the United States since 1776, I think is the date. But it's going to be a tough run. I think for all these teams, like I think the group that we're in is unique in a way that I don't think if you ever drew these again, you'd ever get the same kind of outcomes. But it's interesting because we've had certain ties to these countries for so long that we're getting ready to play, and I think that's going to be a really interesting matchup with the U.S. and England, just because England and just kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, early predictions here. I think England is one of the top teams that's really going to compete for a World Cup here. Played really well in the Euros, has played really well. There's a lot of pushback on Southgate, so if that doesn't end well, it might be because the U.S. supplants them, and it'll be interesting to kind of see how this group falls out. It was weird because I was like, there's no way that they're going to get the Wales and Scotland, spot. There's no way. And then they did. They pulled it, and I was like, are you serious? Like, this is just such an interesting group. It's unique in its own different little way. But no, I mean, I like it. I think we could expect that it's going to be a tough group. But I think if you're really looking at it, the U.S. and England are the top two teams, and depending upon who gets in there in that third spot, would be the third team maybe. And I don't know too much about Iran, but I do know they're pretty tough in the Asian continent. So it's like, it really is going to be interesting to kind of see how they bounce up against the other two teams as far as quality. So I don't know. I like this group. I think it's difficult and it's good. And like you said, Jordan, these groups are pretty balanced. I mean, you've got 3 teams, maybe 4 on each of them that could make a little run, which is always kind of cool because the World Cup, you don't get to the World Cup if you suck. So that's kind of the point of it. So.
Well, if you're Qatar.
Oh, yeah. And I guess if you're Oceania,
they've been
too.
impressive, but I mean,
Yeah.
they've had how many years to build up to this? They've never qualified for one before this, so they
That's
get the
true.
automatic spot. Look, I think this draw could have gone better. I know some people say this couldn't have, but England, Iran beat us in '98. By the way, they're a tough team. I think they said if we take all of these, I think Group B is the lowest ranked teams, meaning like I guess the highest ranked, meaning like England's ranked 5, we're like 13, Iran's 21, and whoever the Euro playoffs is pretty high up there too. If you add all those together, it's a lot of top teams that technically you could say this is the group of death. I guess here's what I'm looking at. USA is going to open up against the Euro playoff.
Yeah.
Winner. While Ukraine is a great story, I don't want it to be Ukraine now. The weight of what the Ukrainians are going through, the fact that the whole world is behind them, us having to play them, they're going to be on a whole nother level. They're going to be hyped as hell. So I'm going to want to avoid them. If anything, you're rooting for Scotland.
Right.
You're rooting for Scotland to make it through because Wales has Gareth Bale that when he turns it on, he turns it on. So that would be kind of worrisome as well. So you're hoping for Scotland. Then you face England on Black Friday. That is a must-win. Must-win game. Game 2, no matter what, was probably going to be a must-win because you want to position yourself so you don't have too much pressure on Game 3. So if you can eke out a draw against the Euro playoff winner, beat England, or vice versa, I guess, you would have 4 points and have to probably get 1 to 3 points against Iran last game of the match of the group. That's going to be tough. This is going to be very tough. And when we talk about how we're like the youngest team to qualify and how we are, one of the youngest to qualify out of, I think we are the average age youngest to qualify since, in this group of World Cup 2022. These players don't have that experience. So while I would say expectation is second place, I wouldn't actually be shocked if we get knocked out in the group. I don't think it'd be as much of a disaster as 2006 when we got bumped out in the group stage because I think these are very tough groups. Now, I will say I was listening to Talk Sport on the way home from England just to get their thoughts on the draw here as we prepared for the show. Here's what Talk Sport said. They said, or some of the people on Talk Sport, that England should top the group easily and not concede a goal. And I said, they're crazy. They're crazy. They said Iran is not good. They said USA is a second division team, and they said the Euro playoff winner would be a championship level team. So all the people calling in on it over there too say that if Southgate doesn't win the World Cup, he should be fired, and that they have the easiest path to a World Cup they've ever had. I want to know what they're smoking. If you win this group, you have to go up against Senegal or the Netherlands, most likely.
Yeah.
That's not easy. That's not easy. And I would say then after that, they would get like France, possibly France or possibly Argentina, Mexico, Poland. That's not easy. There's not an easy path here for them to get to the final. It's just the English arrogance, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm starting to see that on the U.S. side too. A lot of U.S. arrogance of we're gonna easily get second or should win the group. It's possible to win this group. I do think so, but it's also possible to get bounced out. I mean, this is going to be a crazy World Cup. I mean, I'm thankful we're not in the Spain-Germany group. I'm thankful we're not in the Belgium-Croatia group. Listen to what Canada has: Belgium, Morocco, Croatia. So they got the third place World Cup spot with Belgium, right? And Croatia, who finished second. I mean, that's pretty tough for Canada. They can still surprise some people, but you would probably bet money Belgium and Croatia make it through there. And then you look at Mexico again, Poland, Argentina. That's gonna be tough. And really sorry for Costa Rica with Spain, Germany, Japan. That if they make it through to that, they're probably getting bounced as well. We have a real possibility of no CONCACAF team making it to the round of 16, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing will be our matches with England, obviously. I do think Iran, like you're looking at Iran and you're thinking about the U.S. men's national team. I mean, you're ranked higher than them. You do play better competition than them throughout their qualifying. So you do have that leg. I think you're playing better teams and better quality throughout their qualifiers. Because the U.S., I mean, that's one thing I think a lot of people underestimate is the difficulty level of playing in CONCACAF on the road. The environment in some of these countries that are, I mean, they're tough places to go and play. With Wales, I mean, I feel like we could run with Wales. We play well. Scotland as well. I mean, if you're looking at teams, basically how I've been doing it is kind of looking at the players on our roster compared to the players on their roster and where they play. And I'm like, okay, one, the U.S. shouldn't really back down from an England team because, to be honest, a lot of our guys that are playing on the U.S. men's national team are on this roster are guys that play against them in the Premier League and Serie A and, Liga 1. I mean, the fact that, and you're right, Jordan, I heard a lot of sentiment just from the English side of it because I follow a lot of the English accounts because we follow Premier. And there's sentiment in behind the fact that the U.S. men's national team shouldn't be able to breathe the same air as the English national team.
It's ridiculous.
It's shocking because, I mean, if you look at it, all right, here's England's roster when they played Albania. I kind of pulled up one where I thought they played a pretty decent lineup and one that we could see feature. Jordan Pickford in goal. You had Kyle Walker, John Stones, and Harry Maguire in the back. You had Reece James, Jordan Henderson, Calvin Phillips, Ben Chilwell. You also had Phil Foden, Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling on the bench. They had Trent Alexander-Arnold, who probably would start, Jack Grealish, Tyrone Mings, Sam Johnston, Connor Cody, Tammy Abraham, Jude Bellingham. Those are good players. Aaron Ramsdale as well. Those are good players. But when looking at our team, I mean, we've got Weston McKennie. We've got Tyler Adams. We've got guys like Miles Robinson who are going to end up in the Premier. We're probably going to have Zach Steffen in goal, depending on he or Matt Turner. Those are Premier League guys. It's not like we're going up against these guys with a bunch of USL players. And I think that's the way they kind of think of us. It's like we're the smaller brother. And I think it benefits us that we're kind of that team that's going to be thought of as the underdog. And we don't like that. And the US has always played better when they've kind of had their backs against the wall. So I don't know. Yes, we're young, but England's always had the issue of beating teams when they should beat teams. They're known as the letdown team. They get into these really strong, powerful positions, and they seem to always kind of fade. And I'm hoping that's kind of the same. But these two this match against England is going to be really interesting. And then Iran, I think, is a really big match with them. Just kind of getting points and collecting as many as we can to try to get through this group. But I don't know. We'll have to look more. I have to look more at Iran just because I don't know a ton about them. I have seen Scotland play some, just in curiosity, looking at what they've done. And like you said, Gareth Bale. If you have to play Gareth Bale, that's no fun. Ukraine's an interesting topic because I made the prediction today. I just don't see Ukraine playing. Like I just don't. In the state of the way things are right now, I could see us getting to June or July and that team not being able to play, which is really unfortunate. But I don't know. There could be different effects on the team. It could motivate you like hell, like you said, or it could be just absolutely demoralizing having to go play soccer when there's a lot more difficult things in the world that are going on with their families.
Greg Berhalter said he's going to bring the full U.S. men's national team for the Nations League games in June, citing the need to maximize time together.
Yeah.
That's Agreed. Good.
Well, because the Europeans are doing the same thing. They got Nations League on their side. So they're playing, England's got games against Germany, Italy, and them. So, yeah, I agree. Which will be fun. I mean, some of these countries haven't seen the full force of the United States yet, at least, healthy and together. Weston should be back, maybe, ?
Yeah, well, he's going to be back end of April, he said on Fox today. So that's when he's aiming for. So that's pretty good. I mean, he says he's somebody that can always recover faster than typical. So,
all right, Jordan, blind reaction. Okay. Top two teams coming out of the group. Like, who is your round of 16? Not even looking. We haven't even studied. Like, what are some early predictions that you got? Even if it's not 16, what are some of the teams that you think, looking at these groups? Yeah.
Okay.
Early reaction.
Group A, Netherlands, Senegal.
Mm-hmm.
Group B, England, USA. C, I'm going to go Argentina, Poland. Look at that. Mexico setting that one out. I'm going to go France and...
Yeah, this one's tough. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's up for grabs. I'm going to go Spain and Germany for E. For F, I'm going to go Belgium, Croatia. G, I'm going to say Brazil, Switzerland. And for H, Portugal and Uruguay. Ghana's going to be tough, too. Ghana's going up against Uruguay again, by the way. That's the game where Suarez batted the ball out of the net and got a red card, and they had to take the penalty and miss it. So there's going to be some bad blood there. Portugal and Ghana faced each other in the 2014 World Cup. Real quick, too, I just wanted to say with Iran. So Iran 2014, they finished fourth in their group of Argentina, Nigeria, Bosnia-Herzegovina with 1 point. But 2018, they finished third in a group with Spain and Portugal. 4 points. 4 points. Spain and Portugal had 5. That's how close Iran was to getting out of Spain and Portugal. That's why I'm worried about this Iran team and why I feel like specifically the English are really doubting Iran. Iran lost to Spain 1-0. They drew with Portugal 1-1. So this is going to be a tough team. And I think Gareth Southgate's going to have the team prepared, because if they're going off of, if they're listening to the pundits, if they're listening to the newspapers, it's going to be a bloodbath because I feel like they could easily have a misstep in that. What I also wanted to say, too, is we kind of alluded to it earlier, but that England-USA game is going to be on Black Friday. It is the third game kicking off, which means it's probably an 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. So prepare yourself. we always made these jokes about how we're going to face England on Thanksgiving. It happens to be that we get drawn with them and it's the day after. So that's really, really funny. And guess what? USA also kicks off the tournament. We have groups A and B both kick off. Usually it's just the host nation. Now it's going to be all groups A and B kicking off day one, Monday, the 21st of November of that Thanksgiving week. So again, prepare yourself for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. As I told you this, Logan, but that NFL on Fox Thanksgiving is going to probably promote the crap out of that game, England USA, and with no football on, we're probably going to have some more eyes on us as a whole. So I wonder how Fox will balance that, because they're going to have, you know what, Big Fox will probably have NFL games on, and FS1 will probably have the afternoon World Cup games on Thanksgiving. Is how I'd probably guess, right? Because usually Fox has the Lions game, I think, which is usually the 1 o'clock. So
Yeah.
probably up until the 3 o'clock kickoffs. After the 11 o'clock kickoffs are done, you're probably going to have games on probably Big Fox or FS1. And then if they were on Big Fox, they're going to move over to FS1 while the NFL games are on there. But I mean, nothing gets Americans more hyped up than trying to stick it to England again after all the wars and after declaring independence and stuff. And Thanksgiving is a time for giving thanks. It's going to be a great narrative as we build up to that Black Friday.
So just looking at the groups, for those that don't know how it's going to work, we play. So it goes 1-2 on the first match day, 2 or 3-4, and then it goes. I think it was 2-4, and then 1-3, and then 1-4, and then 2-3. So it was. So we ended up drawing. We're going to get that playoff game, whoever that, like Jordan said before,
First.
and then we're going to play England second, and then we'll play Iran third. We play, depending on where we finish, if we do finish and do qualify for the next round, we're going to be playing if we win our group, we're going to be playing the runners-up of Group A. And if we lose and we're in second, then we are going to not lose. But if we're in second place in our group, we're going to play the winners of Group A. So if you look at Group A, that's a lot of fun, because I think, Jordan, it's going to be hard, but it'll be, I think we got out better than some of the other groups, where I think like E through H, it's like they win their group and they got to go play somebody of like top ilk. Like Netherlands is great, but that being said, if I'm looking at our first, second, or round of 16, like I would think I would pick Netherlands over a lot of these other countries. Does that make sense? Like I wouldn't want to come out of my group and then have to turn around and play France, Spain, Belgium, Brazil, or Portugal.
So what's the limit this team can do? For me, I'm thinking with the way that this draw is and everything, the best they can do, I think, is probably round of 16. Just because of how young this team is, it's going to be real tough to get past a Senegal or a Netherlands. And then from there, you're out. So for me, I think that's probably the max we can do. And that's fine. We usually get bumped out in the round of 16 lately. So I wouldn't have a problem with that, because then these players get that experience. 2026 would be a whole different story, and we can see how it goes from there. The only issue with 2026 is then more teams, which means probably another round before the round of 16, and that would be a little worrisome. But, where do you see the best that this team can do in this World Cup?
I agree with you. Round of 16. If the United States beat Senegal or Netherlands, I'd be shocked. That being said, I said, just because it's an easier opponent than I think the other groups, it's still not an easy opponent. Netherlands, I think, just have too much talent. But that being said, I mean, I was looking at their roster, Jordan. I was like, okay, like they've got Van Dijk, they got Nathan Ake. I think, who else did I recognize off their list? But I'm blanking. I'm not going to guess, but it wasn't like I thought it was a lot better than what it was. I think because of the last time I saw Netherlands play, they kind of had these guys like RVP and Iron
Arjen
Robin, and
Robben,
then
and
like that's a whole different crew. Oh, they had Wijnaldum was another person that was
yeah.
on the team. But I mean, a good roster, but I think we can compete with them. Like I'm not sure that we're too far off the mark from them, but we're just below them, and I don't think the U.S. can really survive in a round of 16 with a lot of their experienced guys because I think they'll just figure out a way to win. Where I that's where we don't have that luxury. I don't think the U.S. being as young as they are can figure out ways to just win. Right. I think that's the biggest concern, and that's what sometimes it's just about survival in these round of 16 matches because you just don't match up well against the other team. But yeah, I mean, I'm projecting that they do a lot better than against England than people think because I think we match up well with England. Like I really do think with our back line and our defense, we match up well with their wings, and I think we match up very well with their midfield. I think we actually have a really top tier midfield. Like I think we have one of the better midfields in probably the whole thing. So it'll be interesting to kind of see, even with more experience, Tyler Adams is going to get and Weston McKennie's going to get. Like I think that's going to be important. So I don't know. I'm really liking it. Like I think round of 16 is very doable. It'll be kind of sad if we don't get past the other teams, but like you said,
It'll be
Iran's
sad.
good. Yeah,
It'll be sad. I mean, I'm going to go in thinking that it's still a possibility. I'm not going to be somebody that thinks, look, tournaments are hard, man.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Tournaments are very hard, and with this team being so young, it's going to be super hard. And I would expect, and I don't know what USA is going to do, but I would say no matter what the result of this World Cup, Greg gets let go and we move on. We have to have. It's very rare for a coach to stay more than one
cycle.
And I think it might be best to then say, well, he set us up. Now we're going to get somebody to bring it home. We're going to get somebody to make a run in 2026, not to win it. I'm just saying, like, they're going to bring home the what we've been building to kind of like fruition. Put us on the right track. And guess what? 2030, all these players are still young. They're like still prime, reaching 30 years old. So that is going to be special as well. We got quite a few World Cups of these kids just being able to do it, So it's our first one back. It's all these young kids. I'm thinking, all right, just get round of 16, get out of the group, but I wouldn't be shocked if we bounce out. I think if we bounce out, there's no question Greg is gone, but in the group, I mean, Southgate's been around for 2 World Cup cycles and a Euro, so 2 Euros, I think. So I could see a spot where Berhalter sticks around, but ideally, you don't want to get complacent. A cycle after Bob Bradley, he lost some of the players he had to go. A cycle after Jurgen, it was time for him to go. I think even Bruce 2002 had a really great run. 2006 crashed out. Probably should have moved on from him after a cycle. Like there's examples of this being like maybe best to just move on in the next cycle. No matter how well you do in this, just to not get the same message over and over again.
I mean, with the way that Sporting Kansas City plays, like I almost feel like this would be the only time that Peter Vermees would even consider good jumping. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like Jim Curtin's for this job because he wants to coach every day. He wants to be in the trenches every day, and it's better for his career that he doesn't coach nationally. I think. I don't think it's going to be time. I think Schmetzer might be on the older side where I don't know. Depending in 4 years, where would he really want to be? Gio Savarese, like I don't think he'd ever have interest. Like I think I think the next the next U.S. men's national team coach is going to come from MLS. I just don't know who that would be. Like you know what I mean? Like I think Vermees would be the top on my list. Like he would be, I think, my ideal and the one that I thought would be probably your best bet if you're looking at U.S. coaches that might be done with the club scene and ready to move on, kind of, I guess into semi-retirement in a way with U.S. men's national team, and kind of building this team from, because honestly, like, I love what he's done in Sporting Kansas City, and I think he's done well with young players, and he's got kind of like that bull mentality, but he's done really well with young guys. And that typically doesn't work very well when you got kind of that guy that's a bulldog that's going to, chew you out if you don't play well. But I think that's what this team needs next, right? I think the team needs more discipline and more, attack in the way that they need to attack. And I think that Vermees would figure this out.
So it does seem like the USA will play them England around 7 p.m. UK time, which would be the 3 p.m. kickoff.
Solid.
For us on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
That is, that's pretty good.
I was going to say, like, how late can games be? We Googled this one time, didn't we? Like, what time
3
is it?
p.m. is the last time for us. Yeah, that's the last time for us. For Qatar time, it's 11 p.m. No, 10 p.m. that's kicking off. So
it's 2 a.m. over there now. So they're 7 hours ahead of us. So
if I have that right, I guess. Hold on, I don't know. It says 2200. I mean, I'm not sure if that's local time for them or what, but Dale Johnson put that game would be at 7 p.m. UK time, which we're usually 5 hours behind them, but with I think around that time we should be back to 4 hours behind them because of daylight until they flip over. So
once we get rid of it, and then we'll
probably 3 p.m. Because when I looked at ESPN's website, that was the last time for kickoff was 3 p.m. Eastern time.
So all these games are going to be in times that we can watch them, right?
I think the first games are at like 7 a.m., 7 or 8 a.m., and then
that's okay though. Like, I'm good for early.
The bad thing is we're gonna be working most of this. I mean, at least we'll have Black Friday and Thanksgiving off to watch games.
That's true.
But we're gonna be working during the day for all these other games until the weekend games. So that's gonna suck. But have to try to keep up with them or whatever. The final is December 18th. So before Christmas, we'll know who won the World Cup. So should be pretty exciting. Any last thoughts, Logan, before we head out of here? It's an early, short episode today, just talking about the draw. I do want to shout out real quick, though, too. Forgot to mention this earlier. If you want to go listen to the Revolution recap, they had a great interview with a U.S. soccer or U.S. amputee soccer player, and I'm getting the information now. Sorry, I forgot to write all of this stuff down. But you can listen to Nico Calabria of the Revolution's amputee soccer team, and he's also on the USA amputee soccer team. And he talked with Revolution Recap about the growth of the sport and the upcoming 2022 Amputee World Cup. And they're trying to get some funds over there. So they're doing a fundraising campaign for the World Cup over there. And it's usampsoccer.org/donate. And I would suggest listening to their interview with Nico. Any last thoughts, Logan?
No, really cool what they're doing over there. I thought I was really excited when they reached out to us and had us kind of retweet that, and maybe one day, Jordan, we can get it on. But I think it's really cool if you can throw even $1 over there. I mean, that goes a long way in helping them achieve their goal and get into this World Cup and be able to fund that. So I don't know, it's pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to kind of following it from now a distance and kind of seeing what it's all about, and seeing if I can watch some of those. Somewhere. I'm sure they do some streaming or whatever they might do. So no, that's pretty cool. I enjoy that. So pretty cool. Excited for this World Cup though, Jordan. Like, this is what we've been waiting for. We did it. We're here. We're not sitting at home on the couch going, I really wish the US was in the World Cup.
Not this time. Yeah. Not this time. Yeah, it is great to be back there. I was very excited for the draw this morning because I just wanted to soak it in. It's been so long since we were in a World Cup draw, and it was very exciting. I mean, look, it's been almost 8 years since the last time we were in a World Cup and in a World Cup draw. So great to kind of just feel the moment and then feel the panic of the group afterwards. If you want to give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, it's at Stateside Show for all those places, or email us statesideshow@gmail.com. And we will catch you Monday when we talk some of these MLS games on the weekend.